Lateralization. Lateralization refers to the tendency of the brain to centralize specific activities in either the right or left hemisphere of the brain. Like personality and learning style, some education experts and neuroscientists have suggested that people tend to either be more naturally geared toward right brain thinking or left brain thinking. This does not mean that we don't use our whole brain. Like handedness, just because someone is right or left-handed does not mean they don't make ample use of their other hand. And if a person learns to use both hands equally, they tend to have a greater level of success in certain physical areas. Sports like basketball, for example. Similarly, a person will be more efficient in learning and more effective in processing new information if he purposefully employs lateralization by making a switch back and forth from more right brain activities to more left brain activities. Let's look at a diagram and see which types of learning and actions are part of each side of the brain. The left brain is responsible for analytical thought, detail-oriented perception, ordered sequencing, rational thought, verbal expression, caution, planning, math and science, logic, right field division, right side motor skills. The right side of the brain is responsible for intuitive thought, holistic perception, random sequencing, emotional thought, nonverbal expression, adventurous, impulsive, creative writing and art, imagination, left field division, and left side motor skills. Now consider this diagram of the same information. Think about which of these diagrams is a left brain representation and which is a right brain one. Yes, the first one is more left-brained because it demonstrates organization and flow, symmetry and order. The second one is more creative, with random sequencing, plenty of color, different fonts, and very little order. Now let's consider the 8 steps of the MAST process and see if we can tell which side of the brain is relied on more for each one. 1. Consume. This is a left brain activity. The translator is relying on reason, analytical thought, and logic to read and understand a passage of scripture. 2. Verbalize. This is both left and right brain. It is left brain because our physical ability to verbalize comes from the left side of the brain. It is right brain because of the creative component. A translator is recreating the message of what he just read, from the source language to his heart language. 3. Chunk. This step again is a left brain dominant step. It is an analytical breakdown of the meaning of the passage into its component parts. 4. Blind draft. This is a right brain activity on at least 2 levels. Writing is a right brain dominant activity. Also, the translator is creating new material in his heart language. He is having to form the message of scripture in a meaningful way in his own language. 5. Self-edit. This step is back to the left brain for dominance. The translator has to carefully, strategically, and logically check his work and confirm that it is accurate. He's comparing his work to the original and confirming that his creative right brain expression of the message is accurate to the original. 6. Peer edit. Like self-edit, this step is left brain dominant. 7. Keyword check. This step can be both right brain and left brain. The actual process of going through and looking for each keyword is a left brain dominant activity. But the creation of new words or phrases to represent keywords in the source language is a right brain activity. 8. Verse by verse check. This is primarily a left brain activity as it looks closely at the details and reasons through the meaning to make sure nothing is missing or misrepresented from the original. So we can see that the steps naturally guide the translator to switch back and forth and make use of his whole brain. Which side of your brain do you think you more naturally use? How can you tell which is more natural for you? How can you practice using the whole brain? Here's one suggestion. As you approach a learning opportunity, consider ways to interact with the new information that would require both the right and the left side of the brain. You may want to write down lists of the new information, but use different colored pencils. You may want to draw a diagram and then label it with colorful markers. You could also practice switches like the MAST steps employ. Read information, then summarize it to someone else. Draw a picture using the new information, then label the parts. Write a poem, then recite it to someone. As we assess translators at a workshop, it's helpful to know which side of the brain they tend to rely on more heavily. This helps us group them with others that may help force lateralization and support areas of weakness in one another.